Hi guys, Borjo here, bringing you another raid guide, this time for the final encounter inside Brokenskull, Captain Krasnok. This fight is completely controllable, and a cool level head will win the day for you here, as well as everyone doing what they need to. If this is your first time with this encounter, I'd recommend 8 healers, 2 per group to help manage incoming damage during bubble phases. However, this isn't mandatory and groups can be solo healed as we're doing in the video below. Before you even pull the encounter, you'll want to ensure your raid setup contains 2 tanks and at least some scout DPS. This will become as important as we go over everything that happens in this fight. There's a lot to cover, but in practice it isn't as bad as it seems. Captain Krasnok is a semi-DPS check, heal check, and tank check combining into an encounter which will test you no matter what role you're playing. The first thing you'll need to do is split your raid into 8 mini-groups. This is why I suggest 8 healers above. Mark 2 players from each group with a number 1 to 6, and also 2 people with symbols. In this video we label Group 2 with 1 and 2, Group 4 with 3 and 4, Group 3 with 5 and 6, Group 1 is the MT group, and get symbols. Ensure everyone knows who their designated leader is for each mini-group, which should contain 3 people. This will be most important in the bubble phase. I'd also recommend you designate certain spots to stand on the boat in the bubble phase so people can find bubbles quickly. We use Group 3 the furthest away bubbles, Group 4 in front of them, Group 2 in front of them, and Group 1 in the closest bubbles. The next thing you'll want to do is to designate both a Scout MA and a Mage MA. Have all the Scouts and Fighters go through the Scout MA, and have all the Mage and DPS Priests go through the Mage MA. Now all this talk about bubbles and such, and I haven't even told you what's going on. Captain Krasnok is a fight about control and burst DPS. Phase 1 starts when you pull him and should last till you call a DPS stop at 96%. Captain Krasnok's main mechanic is he's about to flood the boat with green mist, which will mind control everyone on the deck who isn't stood inside a green bubble. You can only have 3 people max inside a bubble. As soon as a 4th person enters, it pops. If a bubble spawns on you, you can walk outside of it without it popping. So what you want to do is call a DPS stop at 96%, group up near the plank and wait for the bubbles to respawn. Then, avoiding other bubbles, run to where your mini-group leader is stood. Once everyone is inside your bubble, you should burn the boss to 95%, which will trigger the AE, and then push him 2% past this threshold. Everyone should be aware that while you're stood inside a bubble, you'll be taking ticking damage called Pustule Pestilence, which doesn't hit for a lot. It's about 5k every second, but stacking with his other AEs, this can really hurt. As soon as this is done, and the boss is pushed that last 2%, it's safe to group up behind the boss again. Burn him until 90% and he'll jump off the boat, grow to giant size and become unattackable. Once he jumps off, Brokenskull crew member ads will spawn. As long as everyone's near the MT position, these will run to the raid. Have your MT or off tank, it's your choice, grab these ads and face them away. All scouts and fighters need to kill them. Mages and priests are unable to damage these ads at all. However, mages and priests now need to start looking out for ads of their own. Mage ads are called one of the following: a Spirit of Gluttony, a Spirit of Greed, a Spirit of Loathing, or a Spirit of the Deep. If the ad that you have spawn is the Spirit of Gluttony, leave it alone and don't kill it. Let it despawn. If it dies, it's probably going to be a wipe. If it does get pulled into the raid, have your off tank grab it and move it away. Any other ad should be pulled into where the scouts are fighting and burned out ASAP. If you fail to kill the mage ad, which scouts can also hurt, then it will most likely lead to a wipe. It's not always a wipe, guys, but it's most likely a wipe if it's one of your first times. If you suddenly get a raid-wide stifle or stun, then this is due to the mage ad not dying. The mage MA needs to be aware that the spirit can spawn on the very back of the boat and won't aggro unless it's pulled, so you need to keep your eyes open like you might see me doing looking around in this video. Eventually, Captain Krasnok will return from the side of the ship. For every scout ad still alive, Krasnok will gain a damage buff, so make killing these off top priority. The fight now repeats, however the mage ad can spawn during any phase and not just when he's off the boat, so prioritise killing the mage ad when it pops. If it spawns as you're about to burn through a bubble phase, get the bubble phase done first quickly, then everyone burn the ad. Now, we don't exactly follow this advice in this video, which you might notice, because we do get an ad during a bubble phase which will be coming up, and I actually switch to it and start burning it while everyone else burns the names. This is just something we'd agreed beforehand. And that's pretty much it, guys. The whole fight just loops now, and as long as you control when you push to the bubble phases, this is cake. Bubble phases happen at the following percentages: 95, 80, 65, 50, 35, 20, and 5. So it's every 15% from the first one. Ensure your DPS stops early and you're prepared to move to bubbles, and then push him to the phase from the bubbles. After the bubble phase, it's always going to be a phase where he jumps off the boat. He jumps off at 90, 75, 60, 45, 30, and 15. So you're always going to have scout adds after this, guys, okay? Ensure that your DPS stop, you move to doubles, move to bubbles before you does the green mist, and you'll be fine. There's one last thing I haven't mentioned, but it's random and may just lead to unwanted deaths. It's the ticking damage on this. His main AE tick is called Immortal Rot. This is swipeable, and as long as it is swiped, it will hit every 6 seconds for around 650k damage a tick. This is pretty harsh for this stage of fighting, so ensure your healers are geared enough to heal through this. If not, make sure there's 2 of them in each group at least. They can easily manage that. His second semi-random AE is called Scales of Bounty. This is the uncurable arcane you'll see on the raid, and this hits softer, but only 150k tick, but coupled with Immortal Rot, it can kill low hit point players before reaction times kick in. Scales of Bounty hits once a second for its duration when cast. As usual now, we'll go through job roles. There's not a lot to go through here really. For the MT, make sure you face Krasnok and any scout adds away from the raid, not only to protect from frontal and AE hits, but also to allow DPS scouts quick access to rear arcs. When tanking scout adds and Krasnok is about to come back, use defensive cooldowns to keep yourself covered up until the scout adds are dead. For the off tank, assist DPS and grab the mage add when required. Ensure the Spirit of Gluttony is moved away from the raid so it doesn't die. For the healers, massive damage incoming. Heal as hard as you can using any available healing cooldowns to get through this. If you're comfortable, assist DPS on the mage add, even if it's just wand auto attack, turn it on. Cure any trauma debuffs you see as soon as possible. These are a disarm on the target which will prevent scouts and the tanks from actually doing significant DPS to the adds. Scouts, go through the scout MA and burn like crazy on the adds. They need to die to stop your tank falling over. Mages have the slightly easier job on this one. Go through your mage MA, kill what you can, and when there's nothing to kill, chill. And that's it, guys. This fight is all about execution. Small burst DPS phases coupled with your raid dictating when the main mechanics happen. Please enjoy watching my raid on one of our kills in the background. It's sped up as usual because I think this kill was over 20 minutes long. Just digest what's happening, realise that we only ever push phases when we're ready. If we burst any bubbles, we wait for new bubbles and all that good stuff, guys. As usual, I'm Borgio. I'll see you guys next time.